Hi, I'm Rory Reid and I'm here with Toshiba's entry-level netbook, the NB250, which promises good looks, a comfy keyboard and decent battery life. Now, I definitely agree with the looks thing. Most netbooks kind of blur into one fairly nondescript blob, and while this doesn't really reinvent the wheel, it's definitely not unpleasant to look at. Some standout aesthetic features include this pattern on the glossy black lid. That same design is replicated on the palm rest, but there it's matte black, which is good as it won't attract quite as many fingerprint smudges. While we're here, we can check out the keyboard, which is indeed very large. It's pretty much full size, in fact, which means if you've got to write a document, you can hammer it out without too much risk of RSI. Although that does depend on the length of the document you happen to be hammering. The keyboard's not perfect. The enter key is a bit narrow. It's not backlit, so you can't see what you're doing at night. But on the whole, yeah, it kind of works. Like most netbooks, the NB250 has a 10.1-inch display. Again, most netbook screens are pretty mediocre, but this one is actually quite good. It's really bright and has a fairly wide viewing angle, especially on the horizontal plane, so it's pretty good for watching movies on. The only major drawback, if I had to pick one, is the fact it has a glossy finish, so it's not great for using outdoors or in any environment where there's light that isn't perfectly diffuse. Connectivity on this bad boy, again, is pretty meh. On the right, you get a pair of USB ports, while at the front, you get the status lights, plus a memory card reader, and on the left, you get an additional USB port, Ethernet, and headphone and mic jacks. Sadly, video output is of the VGA variety. If you want HDMI output, you're going to have to look elsewhere. Now, inside the NB250 is par for the netbook course. It uses an Atom N455 CPU, 1 GB of RAM, Windows 7 Starter Edition, and a 250 GB hard drive. Now, all of that should give you enough performance to carry out everyday tasks like browsing the web, sending emails, watching iPlayer, etc., etc. On the whole, we think it's a decent netbook. It's definitely not the cheapest we've seen, or the best, but it is one we definitely wouldn't be ashamed of pulling out in a public place. I'm Rory Reid, and this is the Toshiba NB250.